Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a non-voiceover, non-sped up. I'm actually talking to you in real time video for Watercolor Wednesday. I wanted to talk about the benefits of using a porcelain watercolor palette that I have learned over metal or plastic, basically. I just received, and I probably, as someone who's just starting out, should not have purchased this, but I wanted to, so there's that. The Stephen Quiller palette. I realize the name is going the wrong way, but this is just the cover for it. I will take that off, set that aside. It is a ceramic. It doesn't even fit in the view. It's 13 by 13 inches. I'm going to try and show it to you in full. So it's got 24 wells going around, and then 8 more, so 32. And I believe these are for like earth tones, because based on this little chart, there was a plastic one that looked similar that they made, the Stephen Quiller plastic one. I don't know if it was more like these shapes where there's fewer wells, but it looks like this one will be this one. And the idea is to have it like a color wheel with your primary red, yellow, and blue, and then mixing the colors in between. I have a lot to learn about that in general, but also color theory. So I'm going to try and teach myself more of that, but I have purchased, even though I built a dream Daniel Smith watercolor palette, 24 of the colors I wanted was like $300. That's not happening. So even though I do want to spend a little more on watercolor paints, I'm not going that crazy. So I actually ordered a 24 set of Core watercolors, which is QOR, that will fill all of these wells, because I want to keep this filled with watercolor, which is why there's a lid, because it'll just dry and you can keep the watercolors in the wells. And just a tip that I've learned from someone who had something similar to this. I think the wells didn't slant like these ones do going inward, but it was like a well that was all the same height, and they filled it with paint, and they recommended to fill it maybe like halfway about here, so that you've got some kind of room to work with it, even though there is a mixing platform in the middle. So just a tip, if you have something like that, to prevent you from filling the entire thing with paint. So as soon as those come Wednesday, I'm going to put them in here. That will be fun. I don't know if I'll do a video for that. I think that would just be kind of repetitive, but I'll probably be using this one. I don't know how. I have like this much desk space to work with. How I'm actually going to paint with this, I don't have any clue. I may have to put something to the left of me or clear off my filming setup, because I have a few like drawer sections. I might have to clear those off in order to actually use this, but I'm excited too. And I have a few other porcelain. I have 2 other porcelain palettes I will show you. One of them is clean, one of them is not. I got this one off of Amazon and I love it. If you follow my watercolor Instagram, you'll see photos of this one. After I paint something, I'll show you the palette as well. So there's photos of this one, and it's really cute, and I love it a lot. So there's that, and there's plenty of like mixing pods for that one. And then the other one I also got off of Amazon, I haven't cleaned yet, is kind of similar to this one. And there's another one like it, I think it's a different company, but Cheap Joe's Art Supply is where I got this large one. I think they sell one similar to this, but it's got another row like this up here. So this one is just missing like this many rows, and they sell one like that as well. But I really like this one too. It's got 2 very large mixing areas, and you can fill those wells. So I'll probably fill these with, whoa, that was loud, with the more inexpensive, like the Cotman, the Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors in this one, and keep a palette that way. And then I'll use that smaller one I showed you just for like one-off palettes that I make, or if I blend colors out of an actual palette that has pans, for example. So enough about the intro to this and the fact that it's ceramic. I do want to cover some tips, so I'm going to show you working on this a little bit. So to show you, I'm going to squeeze just a tiny little bit of paint into 2 of these, because I am going to be filling these with the other set. I really, really, really like, sorry, I probably should be telling you. That was Winsor Newton Cotman Rose Madder Hue. And then this one, I really love this one. This seems to be a favorite. Purple Lake. One of these, I think my turquoise, like the lid cracked. So I don't really know what to do other than buy a new one, but I don't really want to. So I'll probably clean that other rectangular palette and fill it with those ones, which won't be the whole tube, but then I can put the tubes away for a while. So I'm just going to put the Rose Madder Hue and Purple Lake in here to show you, demonstrate. I have 4 reasons why I recommend a porcelain palette. Other artists have given these reasons as well why they prefer it. One artist on YouTube doesn't really make videos anymore. I think she stopped, which is kind of sad. I think maybe they're doing other things, but she did a lot of watercolor videos. It was the Witty Gritty Paper Studio here on YouTube, and she had this one, and that's what made me fall in love with it. And I was like, of course I need that because I have space for it. I don't. So to show you the difference between porcelain and plastic and metal, I'm going to be using these 2. So this is just a, this is the Koi watercolor. It's like a pocket travel portable watercolor outside kind of thing. And it's okay. I've used it a little bit. I don't really need to be outside. I don't really like being outside. I'm not going to lie. So the idea of needing a portable palette is not, it doesn't appeal to me, but I bought that when I was buying supplies just in the beginning, very excited about it. So, for that one, obviously this is not going to be a portable thing. You don't want to take this. I mean, I suppose you could, if you were going to sit in a field for hours, you could take this with you and paint with it. It's just very heavy. So one of the benefits of the porcelain is that it does not stain. Now these I haven't actually tried to clean that well, these ones here. This one I wiped and it did stain. It does have some yellow in there. I'm hoping you can see it a little bit. So plastic is going to stain for sure. And then also, that's a swatch card you don't need to see. The metal can stain as well. I cleaned these. I don't know how well I cleaned this side, but I definitely cleaned this side, and it is a little, it's got a hint of blue in there. It's not bad, but it's definitely stained. And the issue with that is that when you're mixing, you want to have a white clean slate, which is why you work with white watercolor paper. The paper is your canvas, and the white is what shows through. Watercolors are very transparent. So when you're mixing, you want to see the true color of what you're mixing and what you're working with. And if you have blue behind that or yellow behind that, it can mess with what you're seeing. You want a pure white surface so that you can see the true color. And that's what you're going to get with something that can not stain and come completely clean. I saw an example that the not staining is why toilets are made out of ceramic, which is super gross to think about, but it doesn't stain, and that's why toilets are made out of ceramic. So think about that for a minute. So that is the first great benefit. Another thing is that on ceramic, the paint isn't going to bead up. So I'm going to show you each of the ways. I'm going to try and scoot this to the right so that I can show you. I'm going to set this up here. Hopefully it didn't wiggle you too much. Okay, so I'm going to bring this about half. I've got metal and I've got plastic. So I've got my 2 waters over here. I'm going to get my brush wet. My brush was not fully clean. Had some green in there. Okay, so first I'm just going to use the metal, then the plastic, and then I'll show you the ceramic. So you see what happens when you're doing that, and it just kind of sucks into its own pattern. That's what I mean by beating up. Okay, and it's going to do that on the plastic as well. So let's just take another green here. Okay, and I'm just going to use the clean area. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to kind of suck back up. Maybe less so on the plastic, but it's still going to do that a little bit. It just makes colors a little harder to work with in the paint. So then I'm going to take a clean brush. I'm going to grab some of this rose. I'm going to play out here. And you'll see how it doesn't move very much. So you're going to be able to play with your watercolors and be able to control them a lot better on the ceramic surface. So that is the second reason I recommend the porcelain palettes. Now, if you're working, for the third reason, if you're working in a studio, I'm just going to leave these here because I don't want to waste time cleaning them up right now during this video. So if you're working in a studio or an art room or whatever, it's heavier. It's not going to, move. Although you're working usually in a lid when you have something like this, and neither of these are going to be level, first of all, which are kind of annoying. Even if this doesn't move, this is definitely not moving, and it's a lot heavier. And so you don't have to worry about it going anywhere or moving or spilling any of your paint or anything like that. So again, for non-portable reasons, not taking it out of the house, it won't move on your surface that you're working on. And then the last reason, which is kind of fun, is that you can just use dishware. You can go to Crate and Barrel and find a really cute serving tray. If you can get a serving tray that's like a rectangle or a square, a large piece, that's got like a very shallow wall and it's the same all the way around, and the surface is otherwise, flat, that would make a very good palette to work on. So all you need to do is find good dishes if you don't want to, splurge on a giant porcelain palette. But I think this is very fun. But again, you probably have a ceramic plate in your house, or you can find cheap ones at the store, and they work just as well. So 4 good reasons for using a ceramic palette. Even if you're taking paint from one of these palettes and transferring it onto a ceramic palette, working on a ceramic palette, whether it's one you have filled with paint or not, is very easy to do. So those are my reasons for that. And this has been Watercolor Wednesday number 5. And hopefully we will continue going strong. And thank you for watching. I will link where I got this palette down below on Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. It was the cheapest price for this specific palette that I found. I think it was $70-something, and I think free shipping, so that's good. So I will link that down below. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.